told you that the most ruthless, metric-driven, zero customer acquisition cost CEO in human history operates entirely in the dark, right inside your own home?
I mean, I'd probably say you were crazy.
Right. But welcome to this deep dive. Today, our mission is to, really analyze this brilliantly crafted piece of media that takes a magnifying glass to the intersection of childhood nostalgia and behavioral economics.
Yeah, it's such a specific niche, but it works so well.
It really does. So we are looking at a script excerpt from a project called Episode 1, The Mythic Mismatch. Specifically, we're tearing into a post-credit teaser titled The Tooth Fairy's Incentive Engine.
Which is just a great title.
Oh, it's so good. And it does something remarkable. It frames a ubiquitous, beloved childhood myth as the ultimate masterclass in modern marketing.
Yeah, it forces a complete paradigm shift.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, we are conditioned to view these cultural rituals purely through the lens of parenting, or innocence or folklore.
Exactly, just like a cute tradition.
Right. But the writer just strips all of that away. They replace the gossamer wings and the fairy dust with the clinical, highly analytical framework of a high-growth tech startup.
Yeah.
It's just this fascinating exercise in viewing the ancient through the ultramodern.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the way this teaser takes something so incredibly innocent and weaponizes it into this gritty business case study is just brilliant.
It really is.
To understand why this works so well for creators who are, trying to understand audience capture, we really have to look at the cinematic tension in the opening second.
Oh, the opening is fantastic.
We don't get twinkling stars or orchestral swells. We get a black screen
Yeah.
and absolute dead silence.
Yeah, and that auditory isolation is doing an immense amount of psychological work before a single image even appears.
Totally.
By dropping the viewer into a sensory void, the writer completely neutralizes any preconceived expectations of whimsy. You're sitting in the dark, waiting.
Just waiting.
And then a sound cuts through. A single coin dropping. Clink. It echoes. Another follows. Clink, clink.
And it sounds heavy, right? Like metallic. Real. It feels less like a bedtime story and far more like the opening sequence of a tense, high-stakes heist movie.
Yeah, you're primed for a transaction. The heavy sound of currency hitting a hard surface, it anchors the scene in commerce, not magic.
Right.
When the visual finally catches up, we see a moonlit bedroom and a child sleeping peacefully. A tiny glowing fairy lands right next to the pillow.
But, notice the framing there.
Yes.
She doesn't flutter around leaving a trail of dreams or whatever. She lands in the shadows, executes this highly calculated extraction of biomaterial, drops untraceable fiat currency, and immediately exfiltrates the premises.
I love how you phrase that. It's a Black Ops mission.
It literally is. It is framed exactly like a covert infiltration, the precision, the silence, the swap. We are watching a highly trained operative execute a job.
Yep.
And just as the viewer is processing this strangely tense interpretation of a childhood staple, the teaser completely shatters the fourth wall.
What's fascinating here is the deliberate cognitive dissonance. The script builds up this shadowy, quasi-sacred imagery only to abruptly yank the rug out from under you.
Oh, completely.
A narrator drops a massive counterintuitive claim, right? That the Tooth Fairy might actually be the most successful marketer of all time.
Followed instantly by a freeze frame and a loud, abrasive record scratch. The screen flashes massive text. Wait, what?
It's so jarring.
It really is. It's the writer perfectly anticipating the audience's pushback. We've been lulled into this nostalgic, albeit slightly tense cinematic space, and then we are violently shoved into a boardroom.
Right.
The word marketer acts as a crowbar, prying open our critical faculties.
And the jarring collision of those two worlds is the hook. I mean,
Right.
you have an ancient mythological sprite juxtaposed against the aggressive, metric-obsessed machinery of modern audience retention.
Yeah, it's wild.
It sets up the central thesis by listing all the things this so-called marketer fundamentally lacks. No advertising budget, no social media presence, no email funnels,
Yes.
no affiliate links.
I have to pause here and push back on the script's core premise, though.
Okay, let's hear it.
If she has absolutely zero modern marketing infrastructure, like no paid acquisition, no retargeting pixels, no drip campaigns, is it really fair to classify this as a marketing triumph? I mean, it feels
Well,
like a false equivalence. Isn't this just sheer cultural momentum? A tradition that parents blindly replicate because their parents did it, entirely devoid of any strategic corporate intent.
I see what you're saying, but calling it mere tradition ignores the mechanics of how that tradition survives.
Hmm.
Think about what marketing fundamentally is, stripped of all the sauce platforms and digital jargon.
Okay.
It isn't the email list or the billboard. Those are just delivery mechanisms. Marketing is the engineered ability to drive a specific, repeatable human action at scale.
Huh.
If a system continuously recruits new users, maintains engagement, and incentivizes a specific behavior across generations without failure, it functions as a highly optimized funnel.
So the lack of tech doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The fact that it relies on cultural momentum rather than a server farm doesn't make it less of a marketing engine. It actually makes it a superior one.
Wow. Okay, so you're arguing that because the output mimics a perfectly optimized funnel, the anthropological origin doesn't matter. It operates as a business model, therefore we can evaluate it as one.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the script visualizes this argument beautifully. It transitions the viewer out of the moonlit bedroom and drops them in front of a glowing, futuristic marketing dashboard.
Yes, that part is so clever.
It takes your skepticism and answers it with hard, cold analytics.
And the stats on this dashboard are hilarious, but honestly staggering when you take them seriously. It flashes participation rate, 98%.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, a 98% participation rate in any voluntary opt-in ecosystem is functionally impossible in the modern business landscape.
Oh, unheard of.
If a software company sees a 4% active engagement rate on a new feature, executives are popping champagne. This myth has near total market saturation. Every single target demographic user, in this case, children losing deciduous teeth, is eagerly opting into the exchange.
Eagerly. And then you pair that participation rate with the next metric on the dashboard. Customer acquisition cost, $0.
Yeah, that's where the frictionless nature of the myth becomes apparent. Most brands hemorrhage capital trying to lower their SAC.
Oh, absolutely.
They are constantly tweaking SEO, paying for sponsorships, running A/B tests on landing pages. The Tooth Fairy acquires every single user organically.
There is zero outbound outreach required.
None. The onboarding process is entirely crowdsourced and handed down to the existing user base.
Which brings us to brand recognition. Universal. We're talking about a level of brand awareness that makes Coca-Cola look like an indie startup.
Totally.
Before a kid can even properly tie their shoes or spell their own surname, they can articulate the core value proposition of the Tooth Fairy. They know the persona, the product, and the expected payout.
And they enforce the final metric on the dashboard, referral rate. Off the
Oh,
chart.
but the virality.
Yes. The virality of the system is entirely self-sustaining. Think about the playground. Children compare payouts. They share the narratives of how the extraction went down.
Right, like, I got $1, what did you get?
Exactly. They discuss the varying exchange rates for a molar versus a front incisor. It is an infinitely regenerating referral loop driven entirely by word of mouth.
Any creator, any founder, any brand manager would literally kill for a dashboard that looked like this.
They'd sell their souls for it.
It's the ultimate holy grail. Infinite scale, zero friction, total retention. Which forces the ultimate question that the script brilliantly pivots to. Why? How on earth are these unicorn metrics achieved without a single piece of modern infrastructure backing them up?
And the narrator cuts right through the noise with the realization that sounds almost too simplistic at first. People love rewards.
Yeah.
But the script doesn't just leave it at that platitude.
Yeah.
It visually deconstructs the concept. The single silver coin left under the pillow begins to glow, and then it fractures, expanding into a constellation of modern creator economy buzzwords.
You see the coin morph into glowing text, lead magnets, bonuses, loyalty programs, free gifts, rewards, incentives.
It's such a powerful visual metaphor.
It really is. It takes this ancient piece of silver and reveals it as the exact same psychological mechanism driving the entire digital economy today.
A lead magnet, whether it's a free PDF guide or a discount code, is functionally just a digital coin slipped under a pillow.
That's a wild way to think about it.
But it's true. A loyalty program is the promise of a future, predictable payout in exchange for a current, trackable action. The writer is mapping the DNA of our oldest anthropological myths directly onto the framework of modern behavioral psychology.
Because the tools have evolved, but the human operating system hasn't changed a bit.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The script distills her entire strategy down to a flawlessly simple three-part formula: a tiny reward, a simple action, a memorable experience.
Let's break down why that specific combination is so devastatingly effective, starting with the tiny reward. It's crucial that the reward is micro. The tooth fairy doesn't leave a $100 bill. She leaves a quarter, a dollar, maybe two.
Right. It's never huge.
Because in behavioral economics, massive rewards can actually trigger suspicion or require too much cognitive load to justify. A micro incentive bypasses our critical filters.
Interesting.
To the user, the child, it holds immense subjective value, but it's small enough to become a casual, repeatable expectation.
It creates a low-stakes dopamine loop rather than a high-stakes transaction, which feeds perfectly into the second part. A simple action. Think about the friction involved here. What does the child actually have to do? They just have to go to sleep.
The friction is literally non-existent. Going to sleep is a biological necessity.
You literally can't avoid it.
The genius of the myth is that it co-opts something the user was already going to do anyway and attaches a conversion metric to it. There's no 10-page survey to fill out. There's no clunky checkout cart to navigate. Put the tooth under the pillow, close your eyes, and the system processes the transaction in the background.
And then the final pillar. A memorable experience. Waking up, reaching under the pillow, and feeling that cold metal where the tooth used to be. It cements the entire loop.
It really does.
The narrator hits the nail on the head, concluding the sequence by stating, "That's not magic, that's behavioral psychology." The incentive engine, hiding in the wings of this fairy tale, is the exact same engine powering every habit-forming product we interact with.
It reveals that the psychological levers we assume were invented by Silicon Valley product managers are actually ancient. We've been training our neural pathways to respond to this specific incentive engine since we lost our first tooth.
Wow.
The tech industry just digitized a pre-existing human vulnerability.
I want you, the listener, to pause and genuinely audit your own daily routines right now. Look for the digital teeth you are putting under digital pillows.
They're everywhere.
Think about the tiny rewards and simple actions getting you to willingly participate in a massive corporate ecosystem. It's the burst of colorful confetti that overtakes your screen when you maintain a streak on a language learning app.
Oh, definitely.
It's watching that animated star fill in on your coffee app so you can eventually get a free latte after spending $40. You are caught in the exact same loop. The incentive engine is running flawlessly in the background, and you are acting out the simple action for the tiny reward.
We are all active participants in these carefully engineered loops. The realization the script pushes us toward is that human behavior is remarkably predictable if you could align the right micro-incentive with a zero-friction action.
Yeah.
Once you see the architecture of the engine, you start spotting it everywhere in your daily life.
With the mechanics of the magic fully exposed, the teaser drives toward its climax, leaving the viewer primed for whatever comes next. The final visual cue is incredibly deliberate.
The tooth fairy turns directly toward the camera. She breaks the fourth wall, staring right at the viewer, and she winks.
Just a subtle wink.
The scene freezes right there.
It is the ultimate acknowledgement. She knows that we finally understand her secret. The jig is up. She's not just a benevolent fairy, she's a psychological mastermind operating the most successful growth funnel in history.
And then the narrator delivers the hook for the following week, promising to uncover the intricacies of this incentive engine and what every modern creator can learn from it.
Which is a great hook.
But the real kicker comes when the end card pops up. We see the title of the next episode, The Tooth Fairy's Incentive Engine, How Rewards Drive Action. And beneath it, we finally see the banner for the entire series. It reads, AI Myth-Making.
That series title completely shifts the context of everything we just watched. AI myth-making.
It opens up a massive, unsettling line of inquiry. If we can reverse engineer a beloved cultural myth and expose it as a highly optimized behavioral incentive engine, what does that mean for the myths we are going to create tomorrow?
Oh, man.
More importantly, what happens when artificial intelligence is tasked with generating new cultural narratives designed specifically to shape human behavior?
Because it wouldn't need centuries, right?
Yeah, exactly. And AI doesn't need centuries of cultural momentum to optimize an incentive loop. It could theoretically generate, test, and deploy a new myth in a fraction of the time, perfectly tailored to our psychological vulnerabilities.
So what does this all mean? Ultimately, this script excerpt proves that to drive human action at scale, You do not need a massive corporate budget.
Nope.
You don't need a bloated tech stack or an army of influencers. You just need an uncompromising understanding of human psychology. You need the frictionless action, the micro reward, and the memorable experience.
It strips away all the noise and jargon of the modern digital economy. It reminds us that underneath the algorithms and the screens, the human operating system is remarkably consistent.
Yeah.
Align the right incentive with our natural desires, and you can build a behavioral system that outlasts empires.
It is a phenomenal piece of analysis disguised as entertainment. But before we wrap up this deep dive, there is one final angle the script provoked for me. It's something that wasn't explicitly stated in the narrator's dialogue, but once you start viewing this through a strictly corporate analytical lens, it becomes the massive elephant in the room.
I'm curious, where does the analogy break down for you?
Well, it doesn't break down, it actually gets darker.
Oh boy.
The script beautifully outlines the marketing loop between the brand, the fairy, and the customer, the child. The customer acquisition cost is zero, the referral rate is off the charts. But we are leaving out a crucial piece of the supply chain. What about the parents?
The hidden infrastructure.
Yes. If we are rigorously treating this as a business model, the parents are essentially the silent angel investors, or perhaps more accurately, the unpaid, exploited logistics team.
That is so true.
Think about it. They are fronting the capital, they are handling the late-night covert extraction, which involves significant operational risk.
Right, if they wake the child, the illusion shatters and the system crashes.
Exactly. They are managing the entirely localized distribution network. And what do they get from the Tooth Fairy's ecosystem in return?
Absolutely nothing tangible. Zero equity. No cut of the profits, no digital stars, no free coffee.
Exactly. They get absolutely zero tangible reward, yet they perpetuate the system year after year, child after child, out of pure emotional ROI. They do the heavy lifting in the dark solely because they want to participate in the narrative.
That might be the most profound takeaway of all regarding the power of brand buy-in. When a narrative, a myth, or a brand identity is potent enough, it recruits a massive, unpaid workforce to sustain it.
It really is.
It is the ultimate evolution of user-generated content. The brand's psychological grip is so absolute that the consumers themselves take over the manufacturing, the risk, and the distribution entirely for free, just to feel adjacent to the magic.
They become the ones executing the heist, fully convinced they are doing it for themselves while serving the broader engine. So the next time you hear a coin clink or you find yourself chasing a tiny, meaningless digital reward on your screen, take a step back and ask yourself, are you the one orchestrating the extraction, or are you the one being expertly managed by the incentive engine? Something to chew on. Until next time.